sent out in the packet.
I'll move to accept the, minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay. The first item of business on the agenda, obviously, is the a public hearing to amend the Centralia City Code to include temporary fireworks sales as a permitted use in B2 Highway Business Zoning District. Just briefly, as it went by way of introduction before we open the public hearing, this was has been an issue the Board of Aldermen have been looking at, with the possibility of allowing the sales in the city limits, with the possibility that that might generate some sales tax revenue. So we could, whenever the chair is ready, to open the public hearing.
I'll open the public hearing.
I did have one thing I wanted to say on the record during the public hearing, and that is that the issue was advertised in the Centralia Fireside Guard on April 13th, announcing that we would have a public hearing tonight for the planning and zoning, and then again on May 2nd in front of the Board of Aldermen. Since this is a suggested change to the zoning code, it requires that. And that's all that I need to say for the public hearing.
It says street asphalt overlays.
That's all right.
Is that the article that says street asphalt overlays?
It's on that page, but notice I did capture the date.
I apologize, I have problems finding the zoning map. Where,
Oh, I'm sorry.
briefly, where are we talking about?
Let me go ahead and if you turn on the overhead, I can put that on.
I can't find it. It's where?
So the industrial districts and B2 are largely, well, they're entirely north of the Norfolk Southern Railroad track, with the exception of where the parcel of land where the greenhouse was on Singleton. Downtown business district is B1. Okay, so I got that. There we go. There we have it.
Alright, so this would be for B1 and B2, or
Just B2, and because we have pyramidal zoning, it would then also be in M1. It would not be in any R district, B1.
Where's the fairgrounds?
Not in
That's
B1.
B2 also, I assume?
Correct, not in B1. Yeah. The fairgrounds are,
Fairgrounds are B2.
right here.
That's B2.
Yeah, this is North Hickman. That's the new Cornerstone Baptist Church. This is the cemetery. And the property that we're looking at later, unfortunately, the last time they did the zoning map, they somehow didn't color that, but that is a combination of M1 and B2. I'm trying to remember which one is which.
Only thought I have on it is that being temporary business, no parking, and would create parking for during that period of time. It could create congestion on streets in the area. How do we solve that problem?
That's a good question. I was actually thought about that. I mean, it's gonna have to do largely with where they wanna set it up. We could add when we, I guess if, for the permanent structure, there's a number of parking spaces that are required. It's, I believe in B1, one space for every 400 square feet of operating space. I don't know that would, with a temporary tent, that'd be difficult to determine, difficult to
Yes.
enforce. Probably something that if we want to allow this, we should address in the ordinance that specifically amends chapter, is it 11?
Quite honestly, I'd be probably let it go until we see how it works, and if it causes a problem, we might wanna do something.
I mean,
I'm more interested in capturing the sales tax, and we can always address the problem if it becomes a problem. Some of these sites obviously won't be a problem, some of them very well could be.
So just let it be temporary, parking spot like they, one north of, McDonald's there, they use a temporary area.
Yeah. I mean, if we don't address it at all, then, you know, they either park on the street or wherever they can, they can, I mean, these businesses, they're gonna want some parking available, obviously, if they don't have any parking, it doesn't do them much good. So I don't anticipate it being a real problem, as far as I'm concerned. You know, my reason for wanting to go forward with this is simply that if we can get the sales tax rather than it being out in the county and us getting no sales tax, I'd prefer us to get the sales tax.
right.
The only concern that I heard from anybody was that they used to sell them in B1, and they didn't want to see that happen again. But what you're telling me it's not going to be in B1, so that's not an issue.
Yeah, and I guess, I don't know when we put in the restriction to keep it out of, there's a specific area defined in the ordinance, which is about the area that, we were looking at banning dogs for Anchorfest. Basically, it's that area around the square and a little bit north of that. And it's described in the current ordinance, and somehow the draft ordinance didn't get into the packet. I'm not sure why, but so yeah, chapter 11, there is an area defined in the chapter that sets us, basically it's the downtown area. Trying to find that language in here. So, business district. Beginning at 100 feet north of where the north line of Switzler Street interacts with Hickman Street, and then east along Switzler Street to the alley, so the buildings that face Collier, the north-south alley between Collier Street and Jenkins, then south along that alley, and imagining that alley continued all the way to Railroad Street. So, if you're looking at this map, so basically, here's Hickman and Switzler, all this that is M1, and then it kind of, this alley here, you drew a line all the way down to Railroad, and then between the alley, east-west alley between Railroad and Singleton. So right about here, and then west along that alley. And
Yeah, I'm lost.
yeah.
Can you draw it on there? Probably not.
Not really. I don't have that. But it's
I mean, I'm happy with B2.
yeah. And basically, a lot of that B1 area would be have been off limits already, but this just makes it nice and clean, and it keeps it to not in B1. So, the issue, that's the issue before us, and I think, we still have the public hearing technically?
Yes. We have closed the public hearing.
Need a motion to do that, or just?
Yeah, well, you get to whenever you're convinced that no public is coming forward to discuss it. But we can discuss it additionally before and after there's a motion.
So we're at B, recommendation of the Board of Aldermen? Correct.
Yes.
Do you need a motion to close?
No, you don't.
No, you're in charge.
You say it's closed.
You gavel it closed once you.
I'm waiting for a motion for recommendation of the Board of Aldermen.
Well, I would recommend we approve this.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
So I had one nay or one against and 7 in favor.
Actually, had 2 against.
Oh, I'm sorry, who was the other? And yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Six.
Moving on to approving sketch plat of Dollar General Edition Plat 1, I'm assuming DG means Dollar General, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And we took it originally was submitted as Dollar General edition, but our ordinance says that we're not to have the name of any business as part of the title of a subdivision.
Really?
Sorry, I made that assumption.
Well, but you're right, that's why it is DG for Dollar General. Your assumption is correct, but the reason why it's not actually Dollar General.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Sorry. But it's actually in the our code. It's also so it doesn't sound like or look like any existing street that is already been approved. So anyway, we have with us Mark Frankenberg, who is the surveyor engineer. If you have any questions, if you wanted to open the, we don't have a public hearing on this, so if you have any questions for him. Basically, the staff looked at it. I showed it, the only comment I got from any of the department heads was Mark from Electric suggested that it would be a good idea to have a utility easement across the south part of the property so that we could get particularly 3-phase electric to lot 2, the east lot, and then let me put the, go ahead and put that up there, and zoom out a little bit so you can see. So, on the east side of the property, there is, on the east side of the property is lot 2, and to get electric to it, it would be advantageous to have that. They show that here and would come with the final plat as well. So this is a sketch plat required, or my subdivision required to come to planning and zoning. After approval, the next step would be go to the final plat at the Board of Aldermen. This was previously part of Clark and Hinman's subdivision, Block F. There are numerous existing easements that are somewhat, be fair to say, somewhat confusing, and some of them overlap, and to have this platted in this way, clean them all up, would make it much nicer. So city staff would really like to see this, city staff would like to see this passed, because it would provide for 2 lots. One could be easily sold, and it'd be easier to track.
I would suggest that we vacate them by separate ordinance, because I don't believe that overplanting does vacate anything.
Well, we could do that, bring that forth with the.
Overplanting, I mean, a lot of people use it that way, but technically it does not change the existing easements there, so.
I agree with Don, it does
Probably
not,
ought to.
unless it was to the city, then you would want to vacate with ours, but the problem with these is, they are some old ones to the previous owners. We don't even know if they're alive anymore, we're gonna try to do it, I think Birch and Bunch.
They are directly to these private individuals?
Yes, yeah,
Then they probably would go to whoever their heirs are, unless they specifically say otherwise.
yes, and you're most probably right, but I'm gonna let the attorneys handle that, we had talked about that already.
Right.
We believe that showing them on here gets it started, and then we can vacate them with the proper documentation, because they are the individuals. If they were to the city, of course, the ordinance would do the job, but they're not. So we're gonna try to have the attorneys, Dollar General's attorneys, taking care of cleaning it up.
And if they own, if they were to those property owners and they now own all the property, they probably have merged and may no longer be in existence. But-
Right now, the
But I would
property,
prefer to have their attorneys,
right now, the property was divided on that kind of diagonal line through the middle. If you can see, it's going into the old Side Saddle Saloon. There's a line going through there. I think Bunch owned the top, Birch owned the bottom. The ingress and egress easement, of course, came into that. We're gonna we noted that it will be vacated, the old ingress and egress easement. And then there was a sewer line easement that wasn't in use going to the south property, which will no longer be needed. We're not gonna vacate that, just, there's no reason to. That if the city needs to run something down it, they definitely can. Because the manhole actually lands in the sewer line easement up along the highway. So it's, we kinda, Dollar General is easy to work with, whatever you want, we'll do it, as long as they can put a building in, so.
And so all that property is now under one ownership, correct?
Yes,
So,
I'm pretty sure they closed, of course,
yeah.
it's one of these things, you kinda wait for approvals and permits and everything, but I think Dollar General's already bought it.
That's my understanding, is that
Yes.
once the final approval was made on the permit, I also talked to the realtor, John, who was the realtor on this, and they have, my understanding, I have not seen it, but my understanding is that they have closed and own all this property. So, and here's where the lawyers and the surveyors and the engineers will know better than I, but if those easements go with the land all belongs to the one party. But, so, I'm not, if we have to find the original owners and try and get those easements cleared,
shouldn't have.
I didn't think so, but we would be
Unless they
searching long and hard.
I've already reached out to, we're waiting for Arc Design,
Yeah.
Brian at Arc Design, he is in the process that, I know they have closed on it, a couple weeks back.
If the easements go with the property, which is probably what happens,
Right.
and they now own all of it, then the easements are really they kind of disappear, because
Right.
you have all of the rights, you can't have an easement to yourself.
Right.
It
So
actually
it may
said,
actually disappear.
the property was bought out entirety
Yeah. Right.
by one person now, okay, so in other words, we don't have somebody down to the south that has
Right.
a portion of the property that went over the south property line, that there might be an issue there, no, that's not the case here. They definitely bought the parcels,
Right.
and what we're doing is combining them, and, I've already, 2 weeks ago, I've advised Ryan Chillis with Arc Design to start looking into this, because we think that's the proper way to do it. So,
Yeah, you mentioned about the not needing to sign this, and also it says approved and accepted by the city of Centralia mayor and board of aldermen by ordinance number.
Well, I think this is drafted as if it were, it's almost what we would have for the final plat. But a sketch plat does not require, in our ordinance, a sketch plat does not require signatures. It just means, this requires a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I think this was essentially drawn as a final plat.
yeah, well, that's,
Exactly.
we kind of like doing that, because then it's done, we're not redrawing and taking off and putting on, we can submit it. You're gonna see the same thing coming across, if they're an alderman, you'll see the same thing coming across.
Right.
That way we can have comments on it completely. Tell us what you want, we'll do it.
Right. Exactly that.
I see one other minor technicality.
What is that?
Technically, this isn't an addition to the city, it's only a subdivision.
Well,
I won't quibble with it.
yeah,
You tell me what you want, it'll change, be changed by tomorrow.
we did change the name, but from Dollar General Edition to DG, but
I can do DG plat 1, that's fine with me, it's 2 words.
That would be fine
Yeah.
too. I mean,
Yeah, understand.
but it's technically a subdivision within the city, an addition is what would be added to the city.
yeah, I guess I could have quibbled with both of those at the same time, but
Okay, fine, I did, definitely taken off. I think it's on there 3 places, in the owner cert, in the title block on the side, and then the title, boom, done.
On the other hand, I don't see it as being a problem either.
yeah, all right, I was gonna, the part of the code that says, the name of the proposed subdivision, and it says, which shall not duplicate or sound like the name of any other subdivision or any existing platted street or any established business or development in Boone County. The names, and it's in the memo, it's in a little bit emphasis that. So, yeah, technically, if you'd like, we could change that from, if you are,
No, it's
just
just-
called DG subdivision.
The addition kind of meant not that we're adding in, we're not being annexed.
Yeah.
We are adding a subdivision plat to the city's platting process. It could, but it's not a problem. It'll be off there by tomorrow. If we was open today, it'd be off there by tonight.
Like I say, I'm not gonna quibble over that, just
There are just 2 lots.
Yes, sir. And I extended the easement all the way across the south property line. That way, if the neighbor develops, the city has an easement to service them if they need to service them from that side. And there was, it doesn't hurt. So,
So, plat 2 is, I mean, lot 2 is gonna be all, it's gonna be all one.
no, actually, the Dollar General, the stuff all the way on the west side, where the line comes down, will be lot 1, and that will be the Dollar General, and then the developer, because I don't think Dollar General is actually owning this, I think it's a developer. The developer will develop the old Side Saddle Saloon site.
So, okay, so where is this actually going in? On,
The Dollar General will be on lot 1.
oh, on this
Yeah,
one?
yeah, and we have the plans, and they've submitted plans, they've been approved, they've submitted, so they actually have a building permit, and didn't look at it today, but they could be going forward with that as we speak. They have, we looked at the site plan and everything, so it's good to go. It's where the Saddle Saloon was, it will be lot 2, and that will be available for sale. One other thing that I didn't specifically note is, in this subdivision plat, there will be an easement from lot 1 to lot 2, so they do not have to build a driveway. I'm not sure, I didn't ask MoDOT because they didn't ask for it. We really wouldn't want an entrance any closer to the 24, the intersection.
my guess is you're pushing the limits of what they would allow.
My
of the
guess,
existing
yes.
one.
I don't think they would gave you one, it's too close.
Yeah, I would agree.
We have a good one, O'Reilly's is using it now.
Right.
We couldn't find any reason why they get to use it, but the developer says, look, we don't care.
Yeah,
Let's just get us a building up and,
yeah. So the fact that they did not ask for another entrance and they have that easement, I like that. And they're not gonna quibble with O'Reilly having that access as well, because O'Reilly has another entrance, so this is just, wouldn't be absolutely necessary, but it's nice to have a second one. And I've heard, I don't know if you know, I don't know if anybody cares, whether they're gonna try and build something inside the iron, the shell that is the Saddle Saloon, or demolish. But it will be a separate commercial enterprise.
I don't see that that's a concern.
Yeah.
at this point.
Just for the record, I heard it's gonna be taken down, but
Yeah,
Well, I've heard that.
Hearsay.
so-
yeah,
okay.
so I didn't have anything to do with the engineering.
yeah.
They're gonna allow O'Reilly to use their entrance just because they have another entrance in on O'Reilly's. Makes your emergency services flow better.
Yeah.
So, if you got more entrances, the better.
I do have one question. There's a 15-foot utility easement near the south line of lot 2 that goes into lot 1. Do you know what that's for?
I was trying to.
That is, again, from the original stuff, I don't think it's there, but that's where it plotted. There were so many easements that were poorly wrote. That goes right through the middle of the building, actually, if you look at it. Yeah, we don't believe that's there. We believe that it should have been shifted over about 160 feet to run along the east line of this and go all the way out to the highway. That's not where it plotted. We have several easements, water lines to the city, that were granted by these group, Birch and Bunch, that don't even hit the site. And we can't make them hit the site.
Right.
So I can't put stuff on there when I have a decent legal description, and it wasn't decent because it doesn't hit the site. So,
I'm wondering if maybe that should be
taken away too.
taken away.
And that is to the city. So, but we have a water line easement that goes through the middle of this apartment building and through the middle of O'Reilly and shoots all the way across the highway to the city. But that's where it plots, and I can't figure out how to say the legal description is wrong and put it where I think it should go. So we're taking care of that easement on this plat by granting the city another easement where the water line and sewer line is. So that's how we're taking care of it.
Well, I think that maybe we should consider removing that one since we're getting a 10-foot along the south line of it that is definable.
Right,
So we might want to remove that one.
that's probably a good.
Was there any easements along here?
That's where I think the one you're looking at should have
That
been.
be
Okay, yes.
over here.
Yes.
is
But
kind of-
there's no utilities in that area,
No.
are there? Okay.
Yeah, well, not where it's shown, but there's, on the north-south line, the east boundary of this property, there are electric lines that run right up there that serve O'Reilly's and the old Saddle Saloon building.
And they're actually on the neighbor though,
I
correct?
don't know which, I
I don't
think
think
they might
they're
be
on that
on.
because we did the
this.
topo one. I don't remember seeing one there. I would have brought it up as an encroachment note. So I don't think they're actually on us. That's where I believe if you look at that easement, it would lay in there perfectly. If we moved it over about 160 feet, it would touch the highway right away. If we actually just slid this one here
Can you show us?
over to here.
Can you show us on this?
Walk around this one I did. On that one or the other one? I don't know if I can show
If I think,
Yeah, on the other one.
Bring in
Let's try
the,
to pull it back.
I think if I do this, and, where'd it go?
oh, yeah, you can bring it, there you go.
There it is. It didn't,
The other way.
yeah, no, I
Go down.
need to move over too a little bit. What did it do there? That's entertaining, that's not what I wanted it to do.
Dude, I just want you to.
It just doesn't want to go there. Okay, and now if I enlarge it, if it has enough definition. Okay, for some reason there's a little box in the middle.
I don't think this one will show.
No, the one below it.
I think you need to X out of this.
Well, the colored
There.
picture with the overlay is not on that.
Now, you want to go to the plat.
let's go to the flat. Because I can also turn on the,
Can you shrink that?
yeah,
It's right there.
Yeah.
The L shaped.
The whole thing, I believe that's where it belongs, but yes. Now, if we take this right here, and again, this is where it's plotted, so I had no right to move it anywhere else. This is one easement, okay? that starts from the southeast corner of Block F of the addition. If we took this whole thing and slid it over to here, this would slide over to the right of way. Okay? That's where we believe it belongs. There's no utilities in it, so I didn't pursue it very heavily.
All right, but you say it goes through the building at the north end up there?
Actually, if you look on here,
Yes.
if you look on here, it goes right through this building here,
Oh,
and this building here.
cute.
I know it's not there. There's a water line that starts down here, comes up here, goes to here, and then shoots on across. We know it's for this water line up here.
Okay.
It was just an error in whoever wrote the description.
I'm wondering if there's a power line along there, like you say, I'm wondering if we ought to try to clean that up.
I don't think it's
Whether
on.
we do it-
I think it may
Whether we
be on
do it
the,
on part of this or whether we do it separately.
Yeah, I don't know if I can, Don. I think it's
No,
on
I
this
don't mean as
contract.
far as what we're concerned at. The city ought to pursue
Yeah.
correcting it.
I will check it tomorrow because I have a full Alta survey on it with everything located. If it is on it, we will grant you an easement. That's not an issue.
Can you shoot me an email on that?
Sure. I'll send you a copy of the Alta too if you want.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'd like to see.
Yep, the total and everything, yeah.
You know, I think the city ought to pursue vacating that easement that obviously goes through buildings.
I can actually give you the documents where that was dedicated to.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got, there's, having a map on there and found is there are a number of, that's one of those easements we're talking
Yeah.
about.
And I know I find these occasionally and, I try to bring them to everybody's attention so they can be fixed. Having them through buildings doesn't really do anybody much good.
No, but they were, the ones that, a couple of them were good, and they actually got corrected. The ones that are actually shown on there for the water line and the sewer, they, and the ingress and egress, they were corrected. So they were wrote wrong first, but they never got back to correcting these.
And I've got the GIS map called up, if you guys wanna see where the existing infrastructure is. Is that something that you would like to see? Yeah. Just a little bit.
But I know we have sewer and water along the highway, and then the water comes down along 124, the west right of way line 124 on us, and we are giving you an easement to clean that up right now because there isn't one. And one of these could be that one, but like I said, it does not plot where it's supposed to.
And this is not completely correct, because the sewer line, the green line at the north edge of the property, remember the Dollar General, or the existing Saddle Saloon, which by the way was a Dollar General at one point.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yes, before they built the other one out
Yeah.
here.
Now they're moving that.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So that's the eastern, that's on lot 2, the eastern lot. And yeah, you can see that the green line is the sewer line, the blue is the water,
And actually now, where you see the white and black mark to the west of the driveway, there's a manhole right there. The sewer line actually extends underneath that driveway now to
yes.
about where the water line crosses Highway 24 to the north. But there is another, and that is not within an easement. We believe there's an easement granted for it, but it doesn't show laying over that, okay? Because there was sanitary sewer easement granted through previous documents, with a water line easement through previous documents, but they don't work. Of course, they're in the ground, so there is some sort of easement over them. But we're trying to clean that up with this by giving you the easement, the big easement along the highway and the big one along the other side, yes.
And we can take a look at the electric by adding the
possibly even a
electric.
pole line could not be quite in the right of way.
Yeah.
And I would assume that pole line was in the highway right of way, but it looks like it's actually on property.
I think it's on the property, yes.
And I'll take the water out because the water, some of the water is blue. So there you can see, actually, if I turn these lights, I think will make it easier to see. Yeah. So that's electric and sewer. Green is sewer, orange and blue is electric.
Oh, the dash blue lines.
To the
are
dash
underground?
lines, that's underground lines.
Oh, they're underground?
Yeah, they run.
I guess is that how O'Reilly gets their power?
Yeah.
And like, Mr. Farr,
Bartenberg was saying, the sewer does extend farther west.
Okay.
And actually stubs to the south, but we don't know how far, so. We've been in that manhole and have elevations on it.
Probably where they're gonna come out of the served building for that.
You know, that's where I thought, but I don't think they are. I think they're going to the south, into that sewer line to the south,
Oh.
but I'm not gonna, I could be speaking out of turn.
Alderman Borman has mentioned about vacating, and there's nothing in this plat that the vacation. So I'm wondering if we should take out the words "to be vacated by this plat" twice.
And I do have them on there, but I do agree that I don't know if the plat would vacate it.
I think it's cleaner if we take care of that,
Definitely cleaner.
then it's, you know what's done.
As a surveyor, we always try to think we know everything and try to get it onto the plat.
So-
It clears it up, and we could put "to be vacated" and eliminate the word "plat."
Well, so I guess we would have one ordinance that would list all of the easements that are to be removed.
Right.
And we have book and page numbers, which have been researched on the Alta survey and here, that will give us what we need, many of which I think we looked at some of them, and printed out some of them. But this would clean it up. We have the easements we needed. You can see the sewer line, yeah, so there's sewer line on the south side of the property to the south, but this would give us a way to get three-phase electric into the lot 2 on the south side of this plat. And make it useful make it more useful for the both properties.
I mean, if you really would like to have it clean, we could have him put it on the survey and vacated by, and leave it blank for book and page if we get it vacated in time. If not, I prefer not to put that on there. But if we do the vacation first, it could be actually put on the plat before it's recorded. And that way it would be noted on the plat that, no, they have been vacated.
And I can also put on there "will be vacated by separate document."
Well, we could also
And
do
that would say, hey, this ain't doing it, there is another document out there. But then
I'd be
there should be,
satisfied with that too.
there should be another document out there.
I mean, in terms of timing to do that, to have the number of an ordinance to vacate them, we could theoretically have something ready by the recess meeting on May 2nd. And if you are amenable to then having the plat, assuming that nothing.
Well, I mean, this isn't the final plat either. When's the final plat gonna come through?
Well, it could obviously
May
come
2nd.
through pretty quick. It
Right.
could come through as quickly as May 2nd, but if we couldn't have an ordinance approved before that, taking care of all those other easements,
Right.
unless we did, I mean, the only way to do that is if I'd have to figure out what the ordinance would be numbered, let him know that, assume nothing goes wrong. Otherwise, we'd have to approve the easement, an ordinance vacating all the unnecessary easements on May 2nd and the plat on May 16th.
And here's my request. It's kind of up to you guys. I know they want to get under construction. If you have no problem with them starting to build on the property before the plat gets approved, I mean, they do have
It's a
they will be
little
building.
lot now.
Yeah, I mean, it's one lot now, but what they're trying to do is just get a store up.
I certainly wouldn't have a problem.
So that's up to you guys. I mean, if you're not a stickler and they get their building permit and start building, this can go on as long as you'd like.
How close are we with building permit? Are they ready?
I have not seen anything on lot 2.
Okay.
Lot 1 is up.
Lot 1, I'm talking about the Dollar General, yes, so
No,
really
it's
it's
on,
one,
they're already going.
really it's one lot now, but I know they want to get under construction, so they have a store open sometime in October.
Dollar General's already been given the
Okay.
approval to go
Yeah.
forward.
So
It's only lot 2 that would be
Yep.
concerned.
And we can drag this out, not a good word,
Yeah.
as long as you guys want to make you feel comfortable, because I don't think this is an issue.
Yeah.
with Dollar General, okay?
So,
I
I
wouldn't-
mean, it would really clean it up if it shows on this plat what's been vacated.
okay,
And if it's-
So if we go ahead, and if they've got a building permit anyway, I have no problem giving them a building permit, it's a legal lot.
Well, if we get it vacated, I won't even note it on the plat. If there's a document out there that I have in my hand that says they're not there anymore, there's no reason for me to show them.
Well, but you might put on there that these easements have been vacated
Can.
by,
I can,
you know,
yes.
document recorded in the book of
right,
things.
well, let's try and do that, let's get, between me and you and Merritt, we'll have something for May 2nd that vacates all these, and I'll make sure we send it to you so that you see if there's anything I missed, because there's
Well,
about 5 of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up on an email to,
Okay.
I'd like to email tomorrow, and I'll definitely you and Don,
Yeah,
what we're planning on doing, how we're gonna do it, and I will copy Arc Design,
yeah,
because they're actually my client,
yeah.
and they will take it from there. I don't see an issue with it, it helps clean everything up.
Right.
Um,
That would be my goal, just to make sure that it's noted that they're gone.
And if they're gone, as I said, there's no reason for me to show them, but I can, that they were vacated by this ordinance, that's not an issue.
Okay, so we do that on May 2nd, you'd have the ordinance number, bring the final plat through on May 16th, and assuming that, I mean, we've seen, I think, what, all the possible issues that should pass through on May 16th. I never want to predict what elected officials who are my boss are going to do, but I think it would be pretty.
I mean, quite honestly, I don't have any problem going forward with it even the way it is,
Yeah.
but it would be cleaner if we did the other.
Yeah.
I think so just,
Well, these will be addressed again when they apply for a building permit on lot 2, I'm sure. Well,
Yeah.
is this still here?
Yeah, so we might as well clean it up. And if that Dollar General's already got their go-ahead lot, on building on lot 1, there's nothing stopping them. This will not get in their way, I guarantee you, because that has been issued. So we're talking about cleaning up for lot 2. So we'll do that. May 2nd, we'll do the ordinance to clean up the easements. May 16th, you can bring the final plat forward, and you should, then you've got-
I would, while we're doing this, I would like to clean up the one that affects us, but it's not shown because I can't show it. The one that's to the east of us and goes across the highway, we may as well clean it up too if possible.
Absolutely,
I would agree.
Yeah, because that was to the same two people.
yeah.
So if we can clean all the issues up, and when you see the Alta survey tomorrow, you'll see, I think you
I've
actually,
got, yeah.
yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about, because I noted it in my easement notes that we think this affects it, but it doesn't plot on the property. So,
Sounds
You know,
good.
Anytime you can get that noted and, you know, because I think the easement still ought to be shown on here with the book and page, but then the note that it has been vacated by another document.
Yep.
Then title companies, when they start looking at it, it's like, oh, this is gone, this no longer affects it now.
no, they're gonna say, no, this ain't gone, it's shown on this plat.
Okay.
You know how they you
Well,
say, no, it's gone, you argue with them, okay, we'll remove it, so. But that's up to them, but it's, I agree, definitely, it would be best to clean it up. And I don't see that, I can't talk for Dollar General, but I don't see that that's an issue. But
And as long as they're going with their building permit, I don't see that they'll have a problem with waiting that long.
yeah, it doesn't appear that it's gonna cost them any extra money per se, so.
Now, it just helps us.
All right. Are there any other comments, questions, issues? Then, Mr. Chairman, I guess whenever somebody's ready, motion to accept the sketch plat with the, noted changes, on the easements, the name. Is there anything else?
What I've got here is, we will remove the easements, the easement note that says that it will be vacated by this plat. I will get Don a copy of the Alta. We're gonna vacate by separate document. I'm gonna remove the name addition in all references on the plat.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I,
Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other, Southwest State Plat 4.
trying to turn that off now.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
The owners of Southwest Country Estates have begun construction. They did consult with staff. They came in. We went over the sewer, water, stormwater, etc. plans. They made the only change from the preliminary plat was a minor change in the elevations of storm drainage on Jason Court. Other than that, they're proceeding with the plans accepted by the city with the preliminary plat. The plans are to bring the plat forward once the main infrastructure, except for sidewalks, is in place. Therefore, they don't have the requirements for getting a letter of credit or issuing a bond. They are working well with, Mark and Mike in terms of and Phil in terms of installation of the items. The plan is for, and Don, I know you're involved in this project, a 4-inch base rock for the street, and then the required thickness, 6-inch thickness was for the concrete. And this will allow for the 27 buildable single-family lots, unless they, somebody buys 2, but it would be up to 27 additional buildable lots. This is just sort of by way of information, just to let you know. That's all I had to say on that. Comments, questions? Okay. Can we move on to the next item?
Telecommunications tower permit process.
In your packet, you see the application or what we was sent from Network Utility Transport LLC, or MoNut, that's the way they abbreviate. I did not make that up. Yes, they're a chosen acronym. In the state legislature in 2014, and also they tried it in 2013, they adopted some statutory language that essentially removes the power from cities to look at anything such as co-location, propagation studies. Essentially, and I'm going to take a risk at summarizing their thoughts by saying, if it has to do with how to run a cell tower, communication tower business, cities should stay out of it, and leave it up to the people in the business, as opposed to having our own experts hired. What we can look at are the zoning parts. So this is in a B2 district. They would be required to get a excavation permit because they're in the right of way. They would be required, by my reading of it, to get a conditional use permit, and this is my fault, but we've changed the rules for towers and some other things to allow them to be twice the height of other buildings within the B2, B1, and M1 zoning districts. So normally they'd be allowed to build to 100, but because this is one of those things like the MFA tower, that they get double that height, so that does not violate the height restriction. I'm not sure that would have been allowed, if that restriction would have been allowed anyway.
I'm not sure either.
I'm not sure if we went to if we rejected it based on 120 feet height, and where it had been 100, that they would have not had cause to go to court. So basically, I guess I'm letting you know is that this thing is likely to go in, and if you look at the map, this would go over by, I guess the closest building is Prenger's, then there's that lot that's owned by the church with the basketball goals and some grass. It would be just to the west of that lot on Collier, about between Railroad and Singleton.
Well, it's in the street right away.
It's in the street right away.
But I thought Collier was vacated through there. It's on the north side.
Can't blame, but
No, not Collier.
No, not Collier, there's an alley that's,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're thinking of the.
yeah, there's a street there, here, let me bring it up.
And they're allowed to locate in the street?
In the right of way, yeah, they call it a utility pole, and by the way the ordinance was drafted, they are allowed to do that.
Are we allowed to then hang our utilities off of there? Since it's a utility pole?
If we had an agreement with them, I'm sure we would. So, oh, there we go, here we go. Okay. Scoot down here.
So they won't need any guidelines on this?
No, it's monopole.
Yeah, no, they're gonna put it in,
So I was trying to just figure out just exactly how deep it is. It's,
about 8 feet, I think.
it's
8 to 12.
actually about 12, I think, at least. Kind of based on their scale of 1/8 inch equals 1 foot.
it has no guy wires to it at all, huh?
It's like that one they put up out here at South of the City.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so there's the site, and what does it look like?
So it's right, it's on the, it's not in the road, it's actually off the side there.
It's in the right of way, but not on the road, obviously, yeah, they can't put
Got
it
the grass.
Okay.
But there's a certain amount of right of way that extends out past the pavement.
There, I'll show you they've got a diagram of what it looks like. See, that's what Mark was referring to.
Their scale, it looks like it is about 14 feet deep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty substantial amount of the pole is underneath the ground, and probably, I assume that's concrete.
Yeah, it's a concrete, and they bolted down. I think it's 12, 14. I think maybe your measuring capabilities are probably better than mine.
Well, just looking at the scale down at the bottom is, I think that says 16 feet is the whole,
It's an inch. Yeah.
well, yeah,
So it's less than 16. It's
It's
more
more-
than 8.
yeah, but it's closer to the 16 measuring with my pen here.
No, so
Yeah,
okay,
like
so 12 feet deep. So they would have to get a building permit. They would have to get an excavation permit, and they would have to work with power to get electricity to it. Aside from that, I don't know that we have a lot of say.
So in the meeting notes, it says, several other cities received similar requests from this company and more from others. So, I mean, is it your opinion that they're looking to build in all these cities, or there's these people in the water to see what municipalities are gonna do?
Municipalities are pretty well going to approve it because we have no choice.
I would say, Lee Allen, that they're pretty confident they can get what they want. There are some cities that talking to DJ, one of the people who responded to, actually somebody else put a note out on the city manager's listserv, and DJ Garrett, who's the city manager of Platte City, said that they hired a lawyer who specializes in this area to fight it. So they're going to try and fight it, but I
That's
believe.
what I mean, is are they trying to see?
No, they're pretty well gonna.
I think someone's going to put some of these up somewhere, and I think they are.
But it's not stone that's gonna be here, I mean, they're just, what do you think it is?
Well, no, this is an application for them to do that, they're gonna do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not connected to any one cell company?
No. No, and that's another question which I mentioned to when I talked to Michelle, Bill Nueva, that I believe we'd be entitled to 5% gross receipts tax. And she said, oh, and I kind of got the feeling she was their person to answer questions, but not their person who was given a lot of engineering background on this. So when I asked her several questions, she said, oh, okay, well, just send us the permits you think we need to comply with, and I have not heard back from them since.
And unfortunately, if you were to take this to court, and even if you won, next year, they would go back to the state legislature and do what we did.
Right.
And I think there are some, I think ML has a lawsuit with some cities about the way the law was drafted. Well, it may not be this one, because there's about five, they put all five of them in a bill in 13, and that got struck down because they had too much stuff in one. And then they've gone back and tried to get each one, one by one.
Yeah, I guess what, I mean, I read, I didn't exactly understand if they were gonna build in all these cities, or if they were just throwing them all out there and say, okay, this municipality is
Well, once they get to this
not
point,
gonna be any problem at all, and we just go there and build.
well, once they get to the point of asking us, then yes, they're planning on building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this an emerging cell company, or are they gonna sell
I think,
antenna space?
I
I think that's kind of what it
Yeah.
boils down to. I just did very quick research and didn't do a lot of in-depth study on it, but I just noticed, you know, if people are looking for cell companies and phone companies, if they're looking for more access, more bandwidth, more, I noticed there's a fiber optic line that shows
Right.
coming away from the pole.
Right.
You know, this is just, if you need some place to transmit your data,
Right.
we talk to us.
And she made it, their plan, to the extent I could get out of her, was to rent space to different companies. They are not going to be a cell phone company, they're not going to be a telecommunications company, they're going to be a renter, yeah. They're going to be yes, a renter of antenna space.
So are they gonna have to have a business license, because it's a business?
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unless they're a utility. And then
Right.
they should register as a utility. And they call themselves a utility, by their name.
They're registered with
Yeah,
something there as a utility.
PSC, they're registered with PSC.
In which case, they don't need a business license.
Yeah.
That's right.
But then they're subject to gross receipts tax.
Yes. Yeah. I think their goal is to dodge everything, but, no, I shouldn't say that. That's,
No, I say you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but my guess is they're gonna start building these, and I don't know, I mean, I don't know if we want to see if we can be one of the last ones to have one of these things built by opposing it. I would say that that's probably gonna cost us a lot of money without
Any
much
business.
success.
Yes.
But,
Basically, the state legislature said, here, you guys still get to approve this, but you have to approve
But
it.
you can't disapprove.
You can't disapprove it. If you disapprove it, we're gonna, the law will rise you, and they're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
I mentioned that to Matt earlier about the health and safety aspect of this, that I would think would be part of this, would deal with, for the 3-on-3 basketball competition, tournament, or whatever you want to call it. It happens each year during Anchor Festival, and that area is very populated, and it would, what Mark was saying about not being anchored 12 feet in the ground, I mean, maybe it's solid, and maybe everything, but I'm saying they need to prove that.
it's called a building, that's what a building, we can insist that they have a building permit and that they meet standards. Because, I mean, aside from falling over, we cannot address the issue of the microwaves frying people's brains. That is another one of those things that we can't, that's another one of those issues that are specifically verboten for us to address.
We could hope that somebody would run into it with a car or a truck or something.
Well, I think they'd probably end up putting a fence around it to prevent something like that from happening.
They have a fence in the right of way,
They
so.
won't,
They,
it won't
yeah,
hide
they
anything
can't
around
just
it.
right away.
It'll just be a pole like any other utility pole along the right of way.
It'll just be a lot higher.
It'll
What's
just be
the
twice,
diameter of
twice
the
as tall
pole?
as any one we have, yeah.
40 inches at the base.
So, I mean, they're showing us pictures of the pole.
Yeah.
There's nothing on the pole.
And that's-
Almost to the top, there's two little bumps.
No, they're
That's why
renting
they don't
antenna
need
space.
skylights.
Is what I'm
And
saying.
and that's
just
what,
the antenna?
I mean, I'm not 100% convinced that they're renting antenna space, that they're gonna have a big array of antennas like you normally see on a cell
Yeah.
tower. It
No,
might,
that's-
it may have that on it at
That's
some
what I'm
point.
asking you, like,
And
they're
that's
showing a
what-
picture of a pole, and in 2 years, is it gonna look like a
Right, is it gonna have a bunch of, like a
20
porcupine?
feet arms coming off?
I mean, which it would only have what it could support based on the engineering of the pole. mean, the pole
It's
would
not
only
a
be
real
able.
possibility.
Huh?
No,
No, right, yeah, exactly.
We're back to point of
Yeah.
that's what we can do about it anyway. Believe me, they got this bill through one year, they got thrown out because they, the way they did it, not because of what they did, but the way they did it.
Yeah.
They came back the following year and they passed it again in, the state legislature. And the state legislature was bound and determined it was going to pass, and there was nothing anybody could say about it. I talked to several legislators about it, told them I thought that was the dumbest thing in the world, and I was basically told that, sorry, that's what's gonna happen.
I had an idea that maybe we have a or a ribbon cutting for when they get this thing up with Caleb standing underneath it to take credit for it, but
Yes. We
I'm
can
pretty sure that.
that's not gonna get in the minutes, by the way.
I'm pretty sure this location where they're wanting to put is an ancient Indian burial ground.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah, there's yeah, that's isn't that on the state historic register?
Yeah. No,
Well, and if we go over there and find some arrowheads, we can, hold them up on archaeological study.
there you go. But I mean, you know, the only, maybe your cell phone will pick up better, but that's the only bright spot that I can see possibly in this. We've had the right to defend our right of way taken away.
Yes. One of the next things they're after is they're going to allow themselves to attach to any of our utility poles. Period.
Well,
They have to still deal with us, but we have to tell them yes.
yeah, we have to tell them yes, and they will, you cannot go above an industry standard for the fees, which we're still below.
Which is the reason why we need more stuff under there.
Yeah, and then we don't have
Then
poles,
they can't-
we don't have any poles to offer, so.
There's nothing to vote on.
Yeah, no, this was intended.
Oh, no, we have to vote on it.
Information.
Well, we don't have it.
We don't have
Just want to get you riled up.
You would get a chance to look at the conditional use permit when it comes through.
Is
But you have
this,
to say yes.
You can just waive it.
is this, something that we need to approve tonight, or do we
No,
wait for
this
this?
is
Just
information.
informative?
This is informal.
I think
There's
we
not-
should take
Just as
it.
long as they don't make it look like there'd be a tree that doesn't belong there, like they did one down south, Burrow Field.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you don't think? Oh, I thought that was a real
Yeah.
tree.
No! It's a
Looks like a
birch
tree.
It's a pine tree and a bunch of non-pine trees.
Like, man, that tree grew up on fire.
So as long as they're botanically correct, you're okay.
Well, that's what I think they'll do with this, make it into a tree too, guy.
What if the tree board planted a bunch of trees along there right quick and then we have this severe tree ordinance?
You suggested.
The problem is we got right of ways all over the town, so
They'll find another one.
There are some endangered trees out
Eco-terrorism.
we need to spot it.
I do.
there. We can put one in one of those endangered trees.
Can we
Sneed
require
and
them to put a
Jefferson,
spot
I
how habitat in this,
Right at the corner of Sneed and Jefferson, there's some right of way there, pretty wide.
Alright, yeah.
Yes.
You just caught on to it.
Yeah. I think there's.
Comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive plan.
I'm just gonna let you know that it's kind of, we are gonna have help with the Mid-Missouri Regional Planning Commission. It is actually someday gonna happen. It's not just an idle threat, I'm actually gonna try and make this thing happen. So, I think the last time you guys went through this was in 2007. It never actually got to a published version. The last published version was in 1987. So, you know, it's another 20 years. It's time to
A
almost.
little overdue.
Well, it's like another 10 years. Time to look at it again. All right. That's all I wanted to say on that. Our 45-minute meeting is now at 66 minutes.
As when you arrive.
Chamber dinner's, next Tuesday.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?